Hey guys, I am John Carrick and today we are doing 100 Bullets 20, picking up right where we left off yesterday. That is Agent Shepard on the cover, and he is the main character of this issue. He is sitting here waiting in the park in New York, in Central Park, while these drug dealers... This is another version of like when Agent Graves met with Lono in Miami. And the two kids were having a conversation with the girl who was the waitress. And Agent Graves convinced them to rob Lono after he left the meeting. So these gangbangers are in the park slinging all kinds of drugs. Marijuana, ecstasy, cocaine, pretty much anything you want, they've got it. Meanwhile, a few benches away from them, Benito and Agent Shepard are having a conversation. Benito, essentially this is where we learn who the High Table are in John Wick. So the Trust is exactly like the High Table. They are a global or a national or a multinational corporation. They are a group of very influential businessmen. They represent a group of influential businessmen. Benito here, the blonde kid, is apparently going to inherit the leadership position. And if I remember correctly, he is up for this against his sister, which is a lot like John Wick 2, where the one guy has John Wick kill his sister. John Wick could be taken right out of this. And meanwhile, the gangsters nearby are having their own problem, as in their hood, their territory is being muscled in on by this guy named Spain. Spain represents a supplier, and he demands a sit down with these dealers. These dealers catch one of Spain's dealers and they tell him that they're going to kill him, and he says, "You can't kill me, I got Spain. I got insurance now," essentially is what he says. That's a lot like my second book, where the kids have to buy insurance at the juvenile detention facility or they get jumped. If you're not with a gang, you're zero, essentially. And You're a free meal for anyone who wants some. So these guys, they're having their conversation. They say, "Yeah, we'll find out. We'll get back to you. We'll circle around to that." Meanwhile, Shepard and Benito continue their conversation, where Benito wants to know what's going on with Agent Graves, why he hasn't been shut down, why he's still operational. Most of the Minutemen are dead, apparently, except for Cole Burns and Lono. And Benito's more worried about Cole Burns than Lono. And they kind of realize that Graves is out recruiting. And that's what Graves is doing, is he's holding auditions for the new Minutemen. I believe there's 7 Minutemen. So, yeah, he certainly doesn't have 7 right now. He has Dizzy. I don't think Cole Burns and Lono are working for him at all. Here we get these kids, and this girl buys some drugs off of them. Good art, some skateboarders nearby. Not a lot. This is all just the same old thing. But then Spain shows up, and I believe here's a big Spawn ad. And I believe that's what happens next. This is still Shepard and Benito. This is really, I don't want to call it just exposition, because this is great exposition. This is the kind of exposition that I live for as a story addict. I hope I'm holding this balanced correctly for you guys to see. But this is everything story's about. Comics are a very pure story medium. Apologies for that brief interruption. We now return to our previously scheduled broadcast. So these skateboarders are going through the park. Shepard and Benito are having their conversation about what's going to happen with Graves and the Minutemen. The skateboarders, I love Eduardo. Part of what I'm doing with my new comic series involves a couple kids who are skating here in Los Angeles, not in New York. And here we get the introduction of Spain. He's in this red BMW down here at the bottom. And the gangbangers go in and check as to whether or not this dealer is, I think one of them calls one of them over and says, "Hey, he wants to talk to you." and they get the word that this other player, dealer, Iasko, I think is his name, that he is indeed backed by Spain, and that Spain says if they're going to deal in the park from now on, they have to re-up from him. If they don't buy from him, they don't sell in the park. That's the rule. And these kids are like, no, I've been my own man this whole time. And that's kind of what's happening here with Shepard and Benito. There's this really good bit where Benito says, why didn't you tell us Graves was back? You work for us now. And he says, no, I do work for you. I don't work for you. How does he phrase it? I provide a service. I don't serve you. And there's a big difference. People have a tendency to have the opinion that they own you because they provide a paycheck. That does not mean they own you. And Shepard makes that clear. And that's what these kids are trying to do with Spain too. It's sort of a parallel story. Once you decide who the main character is. You're not quite sure in this conversation between Benito and Shepard, but it's definitely Shepard. The kids, it's obvious. It's the kid in the green tank top. Or not green tank top, but the green turtleneck with the glasses. He is the leader of that group. And he is the one who's about to make a decision right here. Benito walks off, and Shepard basically counsels Benito and says, we need to wait. We need to see what Graves is going to do. And it's not up to us. It's him. It's up to him. Blah, blah, blah. Don't rush things. Benito is of an entirely different mind. Any threat is a threat that has to be eliminated immediately. And Shepard is like, that's not the case. You can't just go around killing everyone who speaks out against you. You'll be at war with the entire world. It's not what he says, but that's the gist of the conversation that they're having. There's a really good scene in Rome between Marcus Aurelius. God, what is his name? Mark Antony and Caesar, where Mark Antony is... It's not his name either, Mark Antony. Mark Antony's the guy who killed that little girl, right? Mark Antony, yeah. Brutus and all that, where he says, you can't let him keep putting this propaganda up on all the walls. It's like, if I fight everyone who puts up propaganda, I'd be at war with half the state. So, Antony. And I think Mark Antony is a singer. Or maybe Antony's just a singer. God, I'm going to look really stupid in this. Anyhow, Benito gets in a car and he says, things are getting better. The park's a lot safer. Meanwhile, this gangbanger goes over to visit with these other dealers. The park is not a lot safer. It's safer for some people, depending on who you are. So, what does that have to do with the rest of the world? What did I learn out of this comic? This is a workhorse comic. In today's world, this comic could almost not be printed. This comic doesn't have enough. If I thought Act 2 between Curtis and Lewis was indulgent, this is 100 times more indulgent. It all takes place in the same scene. Nobody gets killed until the very end. It's not even clear what decisions are made. It's a whole bunch of innuendo with very good art. And this issue, if it's not part of a larger whole, doesn't stand on its own. What kind of judgment is that? What does it matter? Does it mean anything? In the bigger picture, this is a mid-act scene. This is a mid-act episode. These cards are kind of the same thing. These aren't even really encounter cards. An encounter card, to really work, these are just blanket sort of get the conversation moving cards, and they don't, these didn't, you can see how small they are. That's why I'm doing 2 of them. They didn't really get enough effort to be in the stack. One of them says, if the collapse is coming, it's going to be partially political. What actions are you taking? How political are you? What actions in politics are you taking? I'm of the opinion that everyone who's active in politics is part of the problem right now. The climate of politics is the problem right now. The climate of politics is division and hate and is tribal. And you can't avoid that when you try and do tribal politics. This is what our ancestors tried to teach us with closed borders. And this is what we have in America right now will not work. It's going to burn to the ground. And the next one is, if society is going to collapse, what are you going to do about it? What business will you undertake to rebuild society in the future? I want to do honey and soap and bullets. That's a lot. Printing won't really have a place in the future. There's not going to be a whole lot of comic books. There's not going to be a whole lot of novels. I was talking with a friend today. I was talking with a couple people today. And we agree that novels are a big lift. People don't really read. But novels are a great thing to promote on the back of something else. Everything you do has to promote something else. Everything you do has to lead to something else. It shouldn't be a dead-end destination. You want to have something else within your... a lot of people say, just have one really good offer. And I suppose that's fine if all you are is a gym, but even that's a lie. He didn't have one offer. The gym offer was a lie. The gym offer was giveaway. And that's what these are. This is a giveaway. This is a giveaway for the game. And the game is a giveaway for the merch. And the merch is a giveaway for the books. It's a loop. So when Alex Hormozy, when he says you have to have one good offer, one great offer, he was basically offering the gym for free and then doubling the price of the supplements. He's taking a loss on the gym. He's running the gym at a loss, but making double on the supplements. And that's a genius way to do business too, because then you can't have the employees complaining they don't make enough. The employees are the entire business, and if they leave, there is no business. So they can't ask for a raise. All of your profit comes on the back of the supplements. It's a fantastic way to run a business. It would be the same as doing comics, and you pay the employees, the creators of the comics, everything it takes to run the comics, but you keep all the profits from the posters and the t-shirts and all the ancillary merchandise, which is really the profit of comics. If you have a good comic, it sells posters and t-shirts. If it's a garbage comic, it only pays for itself. So it's like taking all the equity. It'd be the same thing as running McDonald's. McDonald's isn't really about McDonald's. McDonald's is really about real estate. So that's the catch. Every business has one. You know what I mean? So that's exactly what I'm doing with this. I'm giving the novels away. The fiction is free, but you're going to love the fiction so much that you'll pay to promote it for me. That you will wear the t-shirt and become a walking advertisement. That's my goal. That's the brand. That's the work that I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to build. With the video game, the online casino, the comics, the rosary blocks, each bit will advertise another bit. And here's what I love the most about this. The angels, the whole pitch for this is, if the care of a young one is ever entrusted to you, do not for even a moment become distracted, or you may lose the opportunity to sacrifice your life in exchange for the life of a child, and thereby enter heaven as the greatest of all warriors of Valkyrie. So that is an awesome pitch. And that really long run-on sentence is going to sell posters of angels. It's going to sell Victoria's Secret. See, they're missing the boat. It's not lioness. It's really fucking angels. Do real angels versus demons. And unless you have the ability to write the fiction, unless you have the ability to come up with the art, unless you have the stick-to-itiveness, the discipline to stick it out, you can't make this work. Marvel can't make this concept work. I can. They can try and steal it from me, but they'll never pull it off. They don't have the values. It's that simple. They don't have the values. They couldn't even hire someone to do it. It's impossible. So I am super happy. That's what I'm talking. I'm here to promote fiction. My goal is to promote fiction, not over music, not over comedy, not over art, not over illustration or sculpture or anything else. Just in addition to, there's room for everything in the world. My answer to war is fiction. So this is my, great American novel, or the the song that saves the world. So, song that saves the universe. See you guys tomorrow.